Hello, I'm Kirk. I'm a guide at Lake Trails, coming back for my third summer, and today I'm here to teach you how to set up a tarp. So behind me I have my trusty hammock tarp over my tent, and I tried putting it over the bench, but the trees weren't in a good spot. So this will have to do for the night. Alright, so here's a tarp. This is a hammock tarp from Grand Trunk. This is mostly used for like hammock camping, which is why it's kind of in a weird shape right now as compared to like most Lake Trails tarps. This one has 4 guy lines on it, and guy lines are just these ropes here that go to whatever you're mounting on. So there's only 4 of those. Lake Trails tarps usually have 6, so you usually get a little bit more space off them, but this will do the job. It'll keep you out of the rain, keep the sun off your back. If it's tied down right, it won't fly away in the middle of the night. So here's the tarp parts of it. We have the main ridge line here, which is basically the thing that keeps it up off the ground. We have this line going here all the way to this cluster of trees. We have it tied around 2 trees here. What we have here is we have a bowline knot. You can tie pretty much any knot that just won't move. You can just tie it around a tree. I like bowlines because it's easier to untie. It's really sturdy. Next we're gonna go to the other side over here. The other part of the ridge line. And for this one, I use something called a trucker's hitch. And what that does is that it allows you to snug up the tarp, so that way it gets it nice and tight. See, you can just bounce a knot here, and that's not moving around too much. It's going around this tree, which is pretty sturdy. Obviously not gonna push it over. There's a bunch of dead birch bark just like peeled off the tree here, which you should never do to a birch tree. You just find birch bark on the ground, but people in the SHT don't always know about that, so what can you do, you know? So next we're gonna go to the anchors over here on the sides. These are the ones that are going on the ground. These are the ones that are gonna keep it from going off to the side and just keep it nice and secure. This one we have a little bit of a creative kind of way of putting down an anchor. So for this, I'm just gonna try to do this burnt log right here, which is kind of heavy, but not heavy enough to hold on the tarp in a big wind gust, which is kind of windy today, so kind of worried about that. So I just got a bunch of rocks and just stacked them on top of each other, and I tied a taut line knot right here. And what that knot does is that it lets you slide it up and down, so that way you can change the length of the rope, which helps it get nice and snug. I didn't put a trucker hitch on there just because this one's quicker and it doesn't even need to be super tight. You could do it there, but it's kind of overkill for this purpose. So yeah, that's not going anywhere. Next to the other one, I did kind of a similar thing. I tied it around a rock over here, the taut one. Have to find a bigger rock over here. And there it is. Yeah, that's a heavy fella. It took me a little bit of time to move. And here I have another taut line hitch there. So I can slide it up and down, I can slide it back, make it longer. And we can just see the tarp here. It's kind of moving away and when I do that. So this is the nice little knot. If you don't know exact lengths for what you're gonna be using, you can just tie one of these. You can adjust it to what you need it to be later on. It's also nice because you can just move it around pretty quickly, and it can also come undone pretty easy if you just pull on this rope. There you go. Let's keep it dry. Now it feels like I'm at Lake Trails.